here's an update on the bullshit. So after that video yesterday, we were literally out of the house from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. dealing with the whole BHN thing. So yesterday we went to the CHD place because we called them and they're like, oh, they gave us an appointment to have us, just get me in the system there. So we go there, we tell them everything. They gave us a little packet, and I fill out my mom fills out the stuff that I don't know. I fill out the stuff that I do know. And what it is it's kind of like an intake packet, So it has, the right to consent of release forms and who you can release it to, what you want to release to. It has little, those little scale of things, never, sometimes, always, everyday type of things. And so I did that, and the packet was like this thick. So after I did that, I brought the packet back to the lady, and, then she asked for the prescriber of my meds. And so I looked, hold on, let me see if I can find it. So I brought my pill bottle, and it says right there that the prescriber is J. Charles. And so we keep telling her that, but she's like, no, the original prescriber. And then my mom said, oh, BHN, because BHN originally prescribed me my meds. And so she's immediately like, throw BHN in the trash. And after that day, after what we went through, I can see why she said that. So she's like, okay, so what you're gonna do is, I've already called them and everything, and she's like, you're gonna go down there, and, cause she gave me, I actually have 2 appointments, hold on. I photocopied the appointments so that I won't lose them. So, okay, that's that. This one, okay, and this other one, I think. Anyway, so I got 2 appointments now. One is on August 28th. That's this week. Okay. On August 28th, about at 3 p.m. I don't know what for, I guess, I'm not sure. But then the other one is for September 24th at 10 a.m. and it's a psych appointment. So maybe that's like an intake appointment, I don't know. So she's like, you're gonna go to BHN, you're gonna say, and they're gonna try to, say like they can't do it, and they're gonna say, well, you're gonna have to find another person. And she's like, well, we have another person, but in the meantime, I need my meds. And she's like, they can't deny you the meds. It's against the law to deny a person their meds, because now they're interfering with your life. They're making you put your life on hold so that you will, something. But she had us go to the BHN, because BHN has their own pharmacy thing. And so we went there, and we explained everything, and that they sent us here. And the lady's like, oh, we can't refill your meds. So, why? I don't know. But, and then she gave us this person named, which she's like the, not prescriber, but the one who handles the meds, I think. I'm not sure. It was very confusing. So she's like, at first, we were like, okay, do we, contact this person? And she's like, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go upstairs because that's where she's working today. We're like, okay. And so we didn't know if it was upstairs in that same building or if it was in the main intake building that I went to last time to, get checked out. And so we go to the intake building, and we're like, oh, we need to see. We explained everything again, and we're like, oh, we need to see, And the lady's like, oh, well, we don't do meds at all. You're gonna have to call this number. She gave us a number. And so we're like, okay. So at this point, I started to see why the other lady, I can't remember her name, but she was awesome. I love her already. And she's like, I'm starting to see why she said throw BHN in the trash, because it's literally like a giant maze. They have you running around, and there are all these different sorts of people. Anyway, we got back in the car, but we didn't leave because my mom's like, I'm not fucking leaving until we get this shit sorted out because you need your meds. And I'm like, yeah, I do, because currently I'm running on an old dosage of my meds, which luckily, I'll get to this. And so we called that number. At first it was one of those automated messages, and we're like, great. So after we picked the numbers you need to pick, we were on hold for a little while until this guy answered the phone. He talked really fast, and he had sort of an accent. So when he talked fast mixed with the little accent, it wasn't bad, it wasn't heavy or anything, but it was just hard to understand. So we were on a phone call with him for about 30 minutes. And he kept, gave him my information, my name, date of birth, the entire situation up until this point, for like the 5th time. And he's like, okay, well, none of the phone numbers in here, in your file, match. And we're like, okay. So if you weren't confused enough already, here's the even more confusing part, right? So, asked, he didn't specify, he just said your phone number. And so Mom gave him her phone number. And he's like, that's not the one that matches on your file. And so he asked for my phone number. He said there was a phone number, I can't remember it, but it must have been one of my old phone numbers for the phone that got stolen. So we were really confused. And then basically all went around, he asked for my dad's phone number. And then finally, he made sense. After about 10 minutes being on hold twice, he's like, oh, there's a phone number match for a sister in here now. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, thank God. Hopefully this will match. So he gave him my sister's number. He's like, yes, that's the one that matches. And then we're like, okay. And finally, we were able to update my mom's phone number and my phone number. And then finally, we're being put on hold for like a second or third time, I'm not sure. I have another appointment. He gave me an appointment for September 9th at 6 p.m. It's a follow-up appointment with someone named... Don't know who she is, don't know what she's gonna do, don't know what the follow-up appointment is for, but I have another appointment. So, yeah. Then, he was finally able to push a refill of my meds through, and they should be ready either today or tomorrow, which I'm glad. Which now I can get to the low dosage. So when I ran out of my meds, I'm like, okay, fuck, because up until this point, I didn't know that you could refill your meds over the phone, because the last time I ran out of my meds, they were like, BHN was like, oh, well, you have to wait 3 months before. It was a whole confusing thing. But 3 months later, guess where I was at? Back at the psych ward. So luckily, I was cleaning around, and that was the whole time-sensitive push of this situation, because we're like, well, she's about to run out of her meds. She has a 3-day supply. And we were like, okay, fuck, she's gonna be put on hold for her meds, and then she's gonna have to relapse and go back to the psych ward, because that's what they told us. So I was cleaning, and I actually found 2 old medication bottles of my 2 main meds, hydroxy and oxcarbazepine. I call it benzapine. It's much easier to pronounce. But then I was like, okay, that's good, but how am I going to measure up to my dosage? And so I remember I have to take my meds, actually. I remember it's 2 hydroxine and 1 of the oxcarbazepine. So, luckily, these have been holding me up perfectly fine. So, yeah, actually, let me take my meds. But yeah, luckily, my dosage has been holding me up, so that's good. And when I'm finally finally done with all of this, I will be transferred over to CHD, and I won't have to deal with BHN anymore. Because this is like the third time that they've done one. I haven't been prescribed a psychiatrist or a person that does your meds. Two, this is like the second or third time that I've gotten out of a program, and they said they would set me up with someone, but they haven't. So now I'm gonna be set up, I think, with my own psychiatrist and my own doctors and everything, and I won't have to deal with a BHN anymore. Luckily, I don't mind BHN, they've been helpful, but it's such a mess. A CHD seems way more put together than BHN. So, I will have an update for you guys, hopefully sometime, but that's it. So until the next update, see ya.